The palace looked quiet that morning. The air was still, and even the birds outside the window seemed softer. Something had changed inside those old royal walls, something that no one could see, but everyone could feel. Prince William stood near the window, staring at nothing. His eyes were red. He hadn't slept much. Behind him, the room was filled with flowers, soft pillows, and warm blankets. On the bed, Catherine, his beloved Kate, lay. Still, her face pale but peaceful. She was awake, but tired, very tired. Her hand rested gently on her chest, as if trying to hold on to every breath. They had known this day would come. Still, nothing can prepare a heart to say goodbye. It started slowly, almost silently. Kate began to feel sick months ago. She would lose energy quickly. She smiled less in photos. She missed a few events. At first, everyone said it was stress, the royal. Life was not easy. She was always working, shaking hands, giving speeches, visiting hospitals, meeting children. She smiled for the cameras, for the people, for the world. But behind those smiles, pain was growing. One evening, when the children were asleep, William found her crying in the bathroom. She didn't want to scare him, but she was scared herself. He hugged her tightly and said everything would be okay. He didn't know what was coming. Neither of them did. After many tests, the doctors finally said the words no one ever wants to hear. Cancer, a rare kind. Quiet but fast. It had already spread. The room had gone silent that day. William just stared at the wall. Kate didn't cry. She just reached for his hand. That one touch said everything. They were in this together. But how do you prepare for goodbye when your heart is still full of love? They decided to keep it private, not because they wanted to lie, but because they needed time. Time to love each other without the world watching. Time to hold their children, laugh with them, tuck them into bed. Time to be just a family. Every day after that felt more precious. They walked in the gardens together. William brushed Kate's hair when she was too tired. Kate read bedtime stories to the children, even when her voice was weak. They laughed at old memories. They cried in secret. And in every quiet moment, they were saying goodbye without saying the word. The children slowly began to notice. George asked why Mum was always in bed. Charlotte drew a picture of their family with a big heart around her mum. Little Louis asked if Mummy was going to the stars like in his books. William had no answers, just tears he tried to hide. Kate was brave, so brave. Even in pain, she smiled for her family. She made videos for each child, birthday messages, advice, bedtime stories. She whispered things in William's ear that only he would remember. Be strong, she told him, but don't forget to feel. One night they went outside and sat under the stars. It was cold, but she wanted to see the sky. Promise me you'll take them out here when I'm gone, she said softly. Tell them I loved them more than anything. William couldn't speak. He just nodded, holding her hand tightly. He didn't want to let go. Not now. Not ever. People outside the palace didn't know. They asked why Kate was missing from royal events. Some guessed, some made stories. But no one really knew the pain behind the silence. And then came that morning. Kate had not spoken much the night before. She had smiled at her children, kissed their foreheads, whispered I love you again and again. William sat by her side all night. He watched her breathe. He counted every moment. Every second was a treasure now. In the early morning she looked at him and smiled. Her eyes were calm. She didn't say anything. She didn't need to. William leaned forward, kissed her hand and whispered, I'm here, always. She took one last deep breath, then peace. The silence in the room was heavy. Time seemed to stop. William held her hand for a long time. He didn't cry right away, just sat there, lost in the moment, broken but still full of love. A quiet goodbye. No sounds, no crowds, no headlines. Just two hearts that had loved deeply. William walked out of the room later. The staff saw him and knew. He gave a small nod, then walked outside alone. He looked up at the sky and let the tears fall. There was no more pretending. Now the world would know soon. But for now, it was just him, her memory, and the wind around him. The goodbye had been silent, but the love it would echo forever. The news broke quietly but hit like a storm. The palace released a short, simple message. Her Royal Highness, the Princess of Wales, Catherine, passed away peacefully this morning, surrounded by her family. No fancy words, no long speech, just the truth. The world stood still. People cried in their homes, in cars, on streets. Flowers were laid outside the gates of Buckingham Palace, Kensington Palace, and Windsor Castle. Some people just stood there, holding hands, wiping tears. Some brought photos of Kate, small notes written in shaky handwriting. "Thank you for your kindness. You're like a sister to us all." In homes all across the world, people turned on their TVs. News anchors had tears in their eyes. Social media was flooded with memories, old clips of Kate laughing, helping sick children, hugging people, walking with William. She had always been more than just a princess. She was a kind heart and a crown. But inside the palace, the pain was not just shared, it was personal. William sat alone for a long time in their room. Her pillow still smelled like her. Her books were still on the nightstand. Her coat still hung on the door. Everything was the same, but she was not there. He held the wedding ring she once wore and pressed it to his forehead. His heart felt heavy, like a hole had opened inside him and swallowed all the light. He had promised her he would be strong. But it hurt so much. He wanted to scream. But he didn't, because their children were waiting. George, Charlotte, and Louis were sitting in the garden with their nanny. It had already been told in the softest words possible. George understood. He was trying to be brave, like his father. Charlotte cried all night and clung to William the next morning. Louis was confused. He kept asking, "Where's Mummy?" William held them close and said, "Mummy is with the angels now." That night, they lit a candle in Kate's memory. The children placed drawings around it. George drew the whole family holding hands. Charlotte drew Kate with wings. Louis drew a big heart. William could barely look at the pictures without crying, but he stayed strong for them in the following days. William appeared in public. He looked tired, his eyes dull, his face thin, but he stood tall. He thanked the public for their support. He smiled softly when people said kind things about Kate, but inside, he was walking through a storm. One old woman handed him a letter. "She saved my life once," it read. "I was lost, but her kindness brought me back." William folded the letter and placed it in his coat. Later that night, he read it again and again. It gave him strength. The hardest moment came during the public tribute ceremony. Thousands gathered. People sang. The Queen gave a speech. World leaders sent their messages. But William stood at the center, holding his daughter's hand. He stepped forward, took a deep breath, and began to speak. "She was not just my wife. She was my best friend, my partner, the heart of our family." Catherine gave love quietly, but strongly. She touched more lives than she ever knew. And though she is gone, her love remains with us forever. The crowd wept. His voice shook, but he finished. Afterward, Charlotte hugged him tightly. "Mummy would be proud," she said. William nodded, tears in his eyes. Life slowly moved on, but nothing was the same. The house was quieter now. Kate's laughter no longer filled the hallways. The children sometimes looked for her out of habit. Louis still asked questions.
Does
Mummy watch us from the stars? William would kneel beside him and say, "Yes, and she smiles every time you laugh." One morning, William found George sitting alone in Kate's reading chair. He had one of her old books in his hands. "I want to remember her voice," he said. William sat beside him, put an arm around his shoulder and said, "Then let's read together." Even in sorrow, there was love. Kate had left behind letters for the children. William gave them one each week. Each letter was handwritten, full of love and memories. "Dear George," one letter said, "always be kind. You were stronger then. You think," Charlotte said, "you are my brave girl. Let your heart guide you." Louis had one that read, "Little star, always smile big for Mummy." These letters became treasures. They helped the children feel close to her. They helped William. Kate had also left a letter for William. He didn't open it right away. kept it in his drawer for days, afraid of the pain. But one night, when the house was quiet and the children were asleep, he opened it. "My dearest William," it began, "if you are reading this, I am already gone. But please, know I never left you. I'm in every smile of our children, in every memory we made, in the love we shared. Please don't let sorrow stop you from living. Love the children deeply, and when you are ready, smile again. I'll be smiling too." William held the letter to his heart and cried like he hadn't cried before. The pain was deep, but the love was deeper. Kate was gone, but her love had not left. It lived in their children, in William's heart, and in the hearts of millions around the world. The world changed after the news came out. Millions of people cried. Social media was full of photos, prayers, and memories. The Princess of Wales. But inside the palace, the pain was not in words or headlines. It was real, deep, and personal. William sat by the window again. It's the same window where he had once waited during Kate's final days. But now, the room was empty. No soft breathing, no warm voice. Just quiet. He looked at a small photo on the table. It was of Kate holding baby George, laughing. That laugh so full of life. He missed it every second. She had been everything to him. His wife, his friend, the mother of his children, his safe place in a world full of noise. Now he was alone. Not truly alone, but alone in the way only someone who has lost their heart can be. He stayed strong for the children, woke them up. Every morning made them breakfast, walked them to their rooms, helped them with homework. But every little thing reminded him of Kate. Her coffee mug still sat in the cupboard. Her scarf hung by the door. Her voice still lived in the house like a quiet song. George tried to act like his father, strong and silent. But one day he broke down and cried in William's arms. "Why did she go, Dad? Why couldn't she stay?" William had no answer. He only hugged him and whispered, "She didn't want to leave us. She loved us. More than anything." Charlotte stopped singing at night. She used to sing with her mom before bed. Now, she just sat on her bed, looking out the window. William would sit beside her, brushing her hair, trying to bring back her smile. But he knew some parts of their hearts would never fully heal. Little Louis asked the hardest questions. "Where is Mummy now?" he asked one night, holding his favorite stuffed toy. William smiled through tears. "She's in the sky, sweetheart. She's watching over us every single day." Louis looked up at the stars. "Can she see me brush my teeth?" he asked. William laughed softly. "Yes, and she's proud." Days turned into weeks. The pain did not go away, but it changed. It became softer, deeper, like a quiet wave in the heart. The family didn't forget Kate, not for one moment, but they learned to carry her with them in everything they did. William kept his promise. He took the children to the tree where he and Kate had once sat together, same tree under which she had whispered her goodbye wishes. They sat there as a family, looking at the leaves and listening to the wind. "This is where Mummy smiled the most," William told them. "She loved this place." He also did something else, something special. He started a project in her name, a new foundation to support families dealing with illness and loss. He called it The Light She Left, because that's what Kate had been to so many, a light in darkness. He worked on it every day, not just as a prince, but as a man keeping his wife's spirit alive. The public supported him with open hearts. People wrote letters, sent flowers, shared their own stories of loss. Some even said that Kate's goodbye helped them say goodbye to someone they loved. She had touched millions not just as a royal but as a kind, gentle woman who cared. One evening, there was a special event in her memory. William stood on stage, holding Charlotte's hand, with George and Louis by his side. A huge photo of Kate smiled behind them. William took a deep breath and spoke. "She was more than a princess. She was my everything. She was our children's hero. She faced pain with courage, smiled through tears, and gave love without limits. She never wanted fame. She just wanted to help people. That's what we'll continue to do in her name." The crowd stood in silence, many crying. It wasn't just a speech, it was love. It's real love. spoken out loud, shared with the world. After the event, they went home. The house was quiet again. But the silence didn't hurt as much anymore. It felt like Kate was still there, in the walls, the garden, the laughter of the children. That night, William sat by the window once more. He looked at the stars and whispered, "We're okay, love." Just like you wanted. A soft breeze blew through the window. It felt like a hug. Kate's goodbye was silent, but her love, it stayed loud. In her children's eyes, in William's heart, in every life she had touched, and though she was gone from the world, she was never truly gone. Love like that never leaves.